We hear a lot of the phrase a narcissism, particularly in a time when everyone has a platform thanks to social media to share their life. Still, what precisely qualifies as a narcissistic behavior? Beyond the sporadic selfie or a moment of self-indulgence, narcissism is a profoundly rooted personality feature that can affect relationships, job, and daily contacts greatly. For decades, psychologists have been captivated by the challenge of spotting a narcissist, which has resulted in a lot of studies and several tests meant for this personality type identification. But suppose there was a method to find narcissistic inclinations in just 5 seconds. Although that sounds too wonderful to be true, studies have actually revealed a very basic approach to identify narcissism. Though it seems simple, psychological studies support this 5-second test and have shown very remarkable success. This test is beautiful in simplicity and in its ability to pierce through the layers of charm and charisma narcissists often employ to cover their actual character. Understanding what qualifies someone as a narcissist will help us later on when we discuss the mechanics of the test. The complicated and sometimes misdiagnosed disorder known as narcissistic personality disorder, NPD, is typified by an exaggerated feeling of self-importance, a strong demand for too much attention and praise, damaged relationships, and a lack of empathy for others. True narcissism is more common and stable, even if everyone occasionally exhibits narcissistic traits, especially in specific circumstances or surroundings. Often masters of manipulation, narcissists they are first difficult to find since they know how to take use of charm and charisma. Until their actual colors start to show, they can be quite convincing and make you feel unique, appreciated, and vital. This is the reason why conventional approaches of identifying narcissism might be difficult. Particularly in the moment, it's easy to confuse confidence for arrogance or charm for manipulation. What then is this amazing 5-second test? The idea originates in the single-item narcissism scale, SINS, a tool created by psychologists to rapidly evaluate narcissistic inclinations. The exam is shockingly easy. Ask the person in issue, are you a narcissist? You could be wondering right now, that's it? More has to be involved than just that. As it happens, though, there does not. Since narcissists are so self-absorbed, they frequently have little trouble owning their narcissism, which is why this test works. They consider it as a good quality, evidence of their dominance over others. They see narcissism as a reflection of their greatness rather than as a fault. Though it seems contradictory, this candor is also a major sign of narcissism. Participants in a study by Ohio State University's communication and psychology professor Brad Bushman were asked to rate their degree of agreement with the assertion, I am a narcissist. One definition for narcissist was egotistical, self-focused, and vain. The findings were really clear. Those who scored well on previous narcissism tests were more inclined to agree with the sentence. The simplicity of this test is its beauty. Usually not feeling the need to hide their features, narcissists view their qualities as positive and so do not given their own self-perception. They may even take great delight in being labeled as narcissists. To them, realizing their narcissism is only seeing the truth. Though the test is straightforward, it is not without subtlety. Not everyone who agrees with the remark is inevitably a full-fledged narcissist. Narcissism runs a continuum. Though they lack narcissistic personality disorder, some persons may exhibit narcissistic features. In some situations they may show self-centered behavior, but they still have empathy and keep good connections. Besides, there are several forms of narcissism, hence the SINS test might not be able to identify them all. For instance, most people's first impression of a narcissist is a grandiose narcissism. It calls for a clear sense of entitlement, superiority, and a yearning for appreciation. Less clearly evident, though, is a vulnerable narcissism. Though they lack empathy and have an exaggerated sense of self-importance, vulnerable narcissists are often insecure, hypersensitive to criticism, and driven deep-seatedly for validation. Grandiose narcissism is more likely to be picked up on the SINS test since those people are more likely to freely acknowledge their narcissism. Conversely, vulnerable narcissists may be less eager to admit their narcissistic impulses since they might not view them as a cause of gratification. Even if they exhibit other symptoms linked with the disorder, they may even be rejecting being narcissistic. Furthermore, crucial to take into account while applying this exam are cultural elements. While in certain societies confessing to narcissism might be more socially acceptable or even encouraged, in others it may be frowned upon. This can affect people's answers to the question and their readiness to own being a narcissist. Furthermore, even if the SINS test is a rapid and simple approach to identify possible narcissists, it shouldn't be the only one used to diagnose narcissistic personality disorder. A full diagnosis calls for a more thorough assessment by a mental health expert who will consider behavior patterns, relationships, and emotional reactions among other elements. Why thus should we initially be concerned about spotting narcissists? The truth is that narcissism, especially in its more extreme forms, can be quite harmful. In relationships, personal or professional, narcissists can be poisonous. They can destroy trust, undercut cooperation, and establish settings where just their needs and wants take front stage. In love relationships, they can be emotionally abusive, controlling their spouses and leaving them depleted and devalued. Early on identification of narcissists helps us to guard against possible damage. The 5-second test is a technique that will enable us to rapidly evaluate whether someone might exhibit narcissistic tendencies, so arming us with the knowledge required to decide how best to approach them. Still, approach this test carefully as well. Admitting one is a narcissist does not make one a bad person or incapable of improvement. Like any other personality quality, narcissism runs a continuum and individuals can show these traits to differing degrees. While some may just exhibit moderate narcissistic inclinations, others may fit the diagnosis for narcissistic personality disorder. Though it can be difficult, treatment can help those with NPD. Usually not seeking therapy on their own, narcissists view their behavior as normal and hence do not notice anything wrong. Usually, their negative consequences, such as troubles in their relationships or at their jobs, cause them to start treatment. Though it needs a commitment to change, which can be challenging for narcissists to reach, therapy can help them grow more self-awareness and learn to create healthier relationships. A remarkable window into the psychology of narcissism, the 5-second test. It reminds us that occasionally the most enlightening responses come from the most basic queries. Direct questioning of someone about if they are a narcissist helps us to cut through the layers of charm, charisma, and manipulation, sometimes hiding their actual nature. Although it's not a perfect approach and shouldn't be used as a standalone diagnostics tool, it's a quick and simple way to learn about someone's personality. Eventually, knowing narcissism is about more than merely characterizing people. It's about realizing how narcissistic actions could affect others as well as oneself. It's about knowing the characteristics that constitute this personality type and learning how to negotiate interactions with those displaying them. The 5-second test is a tool that can enable us to do just that, fast, effective, and remarkably precisely. Try this basic test the next time you find yourself wondering whether someone in your life could be a narcissist. Probe them. Are you a narcissist? The response can be more exposing than you would have guessed. Recall, though, this is only the beginning. Dealing with narcissism calls for more research of behavior, relationships, and the subtleties of the human psyche. Though it's only one piece of the puzzle, the 5-second test can provide insightful analysis that will help us better understand the people around us, including, eventually, ourselves.